Welcome to Fabulosity for you, and my name is Angie. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please click the subscribe button, then click the notification bell so when I upload videos, you'll be the first to know. Like this video and make a comment. This channel is about fashion, relationship advice, and lifestyle. And this is not your first time visiting my channel, well, welcome back, my queens, and welcome to the kings out there, and welcome back to all of my fabulous ones. Okay, so today I am here to do the review of the 90-Day Fiance Season 11. I'm going to be catching you guys up with episode 11, 12, and 13. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm that far behind, but we're getting caught up today. So I don't want this video to be very long, so let's get right into this video. Okay, so we're going to begin with Jessica and Juan. So the last time I talked to you guys, Jessica and Juan, they had went bowling with the best friend and her husband and all of the things. So we're going to jump right into them in the next episodes, next three episodes. So bottom line is, Juan got a call from the cruise boat, and I had already discussed how he's really not happy with his life, being with the kids all day, not working, being a house mom. And he's feeling a certain way. He's missing his old lifestyle of drinking, throwing the drinks back, flirting with the girls, being on the cruise ship, traveling, and living an exciting life. And so he got a call from the cruise boat, and they're telling him, hey, whenever we need you back, are you in? He reveals to us later that he never did tell the cruise ship people that, hey, I'm not coming back. He just said he was going to the United States and he was getting married. And so he told them, well, once he gets his green card, he probably will be back, that he will be back. So he knows that Jessica is not going to like the decision that he's making. And he's right. So moving right along, they are having it's time for them to have, well, let me just go back. They had to go to the vineyard to see where they was going to have the wedding. And it was nice. It was really nice. The only thing is, it's a winter wedding and they have it set outside. The lady was like, we can have heaters and all of that if it's really, really cold. If it starts snowing, we can have umbrellas for them to hold. Now, to me, that do sound kind of crazy. If it's in the winter time, then it definitely should be inside. But these are the things that the people at the wedding place is telling them. So Ron is looking around and he sees nothing from his country, nothing that represents himself. So he point blank asked, well, this is nice, but I don't see any of my culture. And Jessica's getting kind of upset because she was like, well, you never mentioned that you wanted me to add anything for your culture. I didn't even think about it, and you didn't tell me about it. So they end up leaving, and they get in the car, and she says, I wish you would have given me notice, but the wedding is right around the corner. But before they even got in the car, let me back it up. The wedding coordinator there was like, if it's that cold and it's snowing, we definitely can move it inside. So he felt better about that. So then they get into the car and she mentions it, and she says, we've been working on this wedding for 2 years. You have not mentioned what you wanted. I'll put it together the best I can. We have limited funds and we don't have that much time. What is it that you want me to do? And he was talking about the bands that they drink and all this kind of stuff, and they have the bands. And she said, that sounds really costly. Now, I'm with her. She probably wasn't thinking about his culture. But if he had some input and was really involved in it, then he would have been able to say, yes, I would like this, I want this. But he didn't do any of that. So to me, at the last minute, he's being real tripped out. Because, like she said, you had 2 years to tell me what you wanted to do. So she told him, he said, well, it's just look plain. It just don't. She said, we're going to decorate. We're going to have decorations. We're going to have pictures of our travels and time together. And it's going to be beautiful. So he was looking like, you know, whatever. So then her best friend and her best friend husband was going to have a bachelor and bachelorette party. And so they had rented this home and they are really looking forward to this event. Jessica had her husband babysit one child and the mother babysitted the other, and they brought the baby with them. Now, in my opinion, if you was taking the kids, I think the baby should have stayed at home. You're on a bachelor and bachelorette party. So, I don't know, maybe I'm mistaken, but I thought I saw her with the baby. But anyway, Jessica looked really nice. She had on this red sequins dress. She had her little veil on. She looked real cute. The best friend gave Juan and all the guys a t-shirt with Jessica's face on it. The groom had white and everybody else had black. It was cute, but they was looking annoyed. So the guys, they went to some bar or something, and there was a stripper. There was a couple strippers. And Juan was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. I hope I don't get in trouble. I'm not doing anything wrong, but it's nice having some strippers at the party. Meanwhile, the girls, everybody buying Jessica drinks, and she's letting her hair down because she says, I'm a mom, I have 3 kids, and rarely am I able to just let loose and have a good time. So she said, I'm going to have a good time. So everybody was buying her drinks, and they were having a good time. So the stripper came over and was dancing on him and all of that. And he was like, this just reminds me of the boat. It reminds me of the boat because I'm just really, really, oh my God, I love my job. I love my job. Now, what I forgot to mention, so I'm going to back up. Juan has a cousin in the United States, and he invited him to the bachelor party. And he expressed to him and to his friend that he wants to go back to the cruise boat. Both of them was like, if you want to be a family man, that's not the thing to do. They was giving him good advice, but it seems like he's just going on to what he wants to do. So while everybody's drinking, he's talking about this cruise boat, okay, which nobody cares about at the moment. So they're having a good time, and then they leave, and the girls get back. They came back around the same time they came back. The best friend's husband was drunk on him. They had to basically carry him out. And Juan was like, hey, they act like I'm the bad one and I'm the one that's going to get messed up. And that's just not the case. Now he's messed up. So they get back to the house, and the best friend sees her husband is being dragged in, and she was like, oh my God, just take him to bed. So Jessica's feeling really good, and she says, my husband looked real innocent, and I'm just ready to just pounce on him. So they go in the bedroom, and she's getting close up on him, and she was like, did you have a good time? He said, I did. I behaved. And she said, oh, this is just so sexy. You look so innocent. So the husband, Juan starts saying, I got something to tell you. And she was like, what is it? And he was like, I got a call from the cruise boat, the cruise ship, and they asked me to come back to work. And I just figured, since we need money, and she was like, hold up. First of all, how dare you talk about this with me now when I've been drinking? And second of all, I could take care of us until you get a job. Well, I know, but I'm saying we can have more money. And she just was like, let me just say this. Okay, if you want to be a family and you want this family, then absolutely not. Now, I can't just tell you what to do. So you make that decision if you want your family or you want to go back to the cruise ship. Because I'm not going to be by myself taking care of these kids, and you rarely seeing the kids because you at sea all the time. That's not going to happen. And I'm glad that she stood up for herself, honey, because Juan is low down. You gonna wait until you doing a bachelor's party, and she doing her bachelorette party to break this news to her when you know what the answer is. Now I understand this man is not happy, but y'all got to come with some compromise. You know, I don't know if they might need to move from the city they in, because it's a slow city. It's I wouldn't want to live there, so I understand that. But just to say you're gonna go back and you know you had cheated on her on the ship. It's plenty of women, it's plenty of partying, and you got a family at home. It's not gonna work. So he has some thinking. Ricky got some thinking to do. Okay, Juan. I don't know what he gonna do, but he better think fast because the wedding is around the corner. Okay, so next we're gonna go with the throuple. So the last time I talked to you guys, Matt was feeling a certain way because Amina had told him that Annie was more in love with him. Okay, and he felt like, okay, he felt like an outsider, like the third wheel. So he told her he needed time alone and this and that and the other. He ends up calling his friend who has also been in a throuple, and his best friend was like, I'm sorry, you have everything to lose. You have your wife, your children, your home. You guys need to stop this. Y'all, this is ridiculous. You don't have to do this. I would stop it right now. I think his friend gave him some great advice, but he started talking to his wife, and she's like, well, I just think you guys need to talk. I know that she does care for you. I'm sorry, I waited a couple days to tell you about it. I knew you was going to be hurt. So she was saying to herself, she can't believe she going to do this, but she finna set them up on a date with just the two of them so that they can work things out. So she found this restaurant. It was a little Mexican little restaurant, and they had lunch, and they had some drinks and tacos, and she was like, I just want you guys to talk it out. I'm gonna leave you guys alone. So they're talking it out, and it was kind of awkward, but they finally started talking, and he was like, you know, Amina told me that, hey, you feel more for her than you do for me, and I kind of felt a certain way about it. And so she was like, well, yeah, I said that, you know. She was like, because me and her reconnect, she talks to me, she spends time with me, where you never open up about your feelings and how you feel. And he was like, I really do care for you. I love my wife, and I care for you as well. And you're right, I don't express that. I'm just trying to get used to this. And he said, but I really care about you a lot. And it really made me feel a certain way that you didn't act like you care for me just like you care for her. So she said, well, we got to stop spending more time like this together because I really do care about you. I really want this to work. And so, honey, they started kissing and hugging and all the things. And she was like, you remember the rule now. And he was like, how can I forget? So they get up and they take a romantic walk on the beach, and they're holding hands and hugging each other and loving on each other. And so now he feels comfortable. Now, I personally think that this is a made up story, but we're gonna act like it's a real story. And I just think he should just have followed his friend's advice. Okay, so Amina, she ends up looking up Annie's ex-boyfriend, and she knows him, who he is, because she sends money to this account with his name on it. So she and her husband go and meet him, and they kind of felt bad about it, but then they feel like, hey, we need to know everything we need to know about this woman. Do he know about us? Before we just jump back into it. So he comes into the restaurant. They was really surprised to see that he was this short, scrawny guy, really nothing to look at. They was expecting some hot dude. And he knows that these people are trying to just find more information about Annie. So he tells them that, you know, Annie was in a relationship. We was in a relationship. We met at the club. She was going into another relationship, but I pretty much got involved and sabotaged the relationship because I really did care about her and I didn't really want to break up with her. I ended up giving her this banking account because she said she needed it. I didn't ask her no questions. So they was like, well, did you know about us? Of course, I knew about you guys. Well, did you know that we were really serious? And he said, serious? That we talking about bringing her back to the United States and us getting a divorce so he can marry her to bring her back? So he was like, oh no, I didn't know any of this. And he was just saying he's an honest guy and he did not want to, because he's an honest guy, he wanted to keep it real with these people. So he said, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know you guys were serious like that. She didn't say that. And you guys keep calling her Annie when her name is Brenda. So they was like, oh my God, what? Brenda? Yes, Brenda. Well, what about her ex-husband? And he said, they're still together. Because when her and I was in a relationship, they was not divorced. And from what I understand, they still not divorced. And so it was just shocking news after shocking news. And they was like, oh my God. So Amini decided to call up. She decided to call up Annie and say, meet us at dinner. Annie gets there and see old dude there, okay? See the dude, guy sitting there. And Amini says, hello, Brenda. And she looking like she been busted, but we don't know. Is this man trying to break up her throuple, or is he telling the truth? So it seemed like a scam has been run. And I'm not surprised because look what I'm not trying to talk about strippers. It's an honest living. They, you know, you try to take care, she's trying to take care of her family, but at the end of the day, this woman needs money, okay? So she gonna do what she need to do. And if that's the finesse a couple to get this money, then maybe that's what she doing. I honestly don't think that she's in love with neither one of them. So anyway, that's how that ended. We're going to move right along to Mark. And I can't think of the wife's name. I don't know if it's Amini, but I'm just going to say Amini. Okay, I forgot. So, Mark and Amini. The last time I talked to you guys, Amini was upset about the prenup and all of the things. And so she goes to, well, Mark has a job to do. He is a pilot, and so he had a job to do. So she's left alone by herself for the first time in his house. She's looking around, looking at things, and seeing the wife and ex-wife, and she's taking her pictures down, which she should. And then she was invited from the neighbors, by the neighbors, to come over. So she gets there, and it's called a sip and I don't know if it's sip and sew or sip and knit, but she comes in and she says some people like to crochet and some people like to drink, so we decided just to call it a sip and crochet. And so she said that it's just women getting together. Our husbands, I'm sorry, I have sinuses. Our men, they all have the same type of personality. They're pilots, and we just need to get together and just talk about things and let things out. So they asked her, I know coming from Paris to here in a forest is a big change. And she said, it is a big change. Yes, it is. So she was like, well, wow, I know it is, So have you guys been out of town? Have you met the family? So she said, yeah, I met his family. And they was like, well, how did you guys get along? Do you get along? Yeah. And they was like, that don't sound like you really getting along. And she was like, well, no, we don't. They talking about their prenup. And so that was like a prenup. They shouldn't be talking to you about no prenup. Yeah, and I just want to make sure my kids are straight because I done it a lot. I left my job. I left my son. And honey, them tears was rolling. I left my son. And I want my son taken care of and my family taken, my children taken care of. And so they say, and you want to be taken care of because it's not no guarantees. So she said, I say in the prenup, I have a prerequisite though. And they said, what's that? He adopted my son. He promised to take care of my son. And they said, well, he should adopt your son if you guys are getting married. So they sit there and they try to console her. And then Mark comes home and it's his birthday and it's in the morning. So she made pancakes and she put chocolate and whipped cream and it just looked a hot mess. But he acted like he liked it. And they were going to be going to New York. And I guess that's where the family's meeting. And they're going to celebrate his birthday. So in the car, she mentions that I guess her family, some of her family going to be here. Her sister and stuff is coming to the wedding. I don't know why they went to New York. It might be to get married. I'm not quite sure. No. The sister is going to stay until it's time to get married. But they're meeting in New York, okay? And they're celebrating Mark's birthday. So she don't want to put a damper on the birthday, so she's not really trying to talk about the prenup at this point. But she did mention her son was supposed to come with the sister, and he said, well, what if he doesn't be able to come? And she was like, no, my son is coming. My son is coming. If he's not coming, if he can't be here, then I'm going back home. And he was like, oh, so you going back home? Well, let me just say this. If you're going back home, you know you can't come back. And my daughter going to be staying right here because she has her passport and she can stay in the United States, honey. You're not taking my daughter nowhere. So she just started crying. And he looked real sad to have to say that because she's threatening to go back home after he really, worked hard to get her there. And so they get to the hotel, and it's a nice hotel. And then they go out to eat, and she mentions the prenup. She says, yeah, I signed the prenup under conditions. And he said, oh, what's that? That you adopt my son. And he was like, I planned on doing that anyway. She said, really? I did. I love your son, and I feel real bad. He started choking up. I feel real bad. I feel like I let you down because I didn't get your son over here. But he's coming. I mean, his passport hadn't come. But I feel bad that he's not here. And she said, oh baby, you crying, don't cry. And she was just so happy to feel like he really do love her son. He had already planned on adopting him. And he said, I thought I told you that. I love your son. I'm going to take care of him and I'm going to adopt him. So they both was crying, and I just felt like, wow, this man loved her. And I'm glad things are turning out the way they should turn out. So I'm happy for them. It ended on a good note. So next we're going to talk about Greg and Joan. So the last time I talked to you guys, Joan was telling Greg, you better get a job in 30 days. You better do this and you better do that. You're going to have to pay for what you owe my family. I forgot what it's called. And so Greg was really nervous because she's threatening him. And he's afraid that he might not get a job right away. He's afraid of her going back home. He's afraid he's not going to have enough money to pay her family and all of the things. And his mama is like telling them, hey, I think that you guys need to have your wedding somewhere else. And they was like, oh my God, we can't afford anywhere else. And he was like, well, Mom, I thought we already agreed it was going to be at the house. We can have the chickens running. I'll do most of the cooking. And she said, you really think you could do a wedding on $5,000? He said, yeah. Well, she was like, Gregory, everything will fall on me. This house is not ready for a wedding. I'm not about to do all of that. I think it'd be easier and nicer if it was at a hall. I found a hall. And so she was like, yeah, but he has to pay my family. I forgot what it's called. He has to pay my family. And she was like, lay off. She said in the confessional, she needs to lay off for Gregory. Lay off for Gregory. So she said, well, he's been taking care of you. So can you give him a break with that? She was like, no. And he was like, he said in confessional, I have told my mother over and over, we have talked about this. It's her tradition. And just because I'm Gregory, don't mean they're going to give me a break. So it has to be done. So they was like, really didn't want to do it. But she said, come on, we're going to go look at the place. It was a beautiful place. She said it's an open bar all night. The food is going to be good. The place was really nice. And they was like, it is nice, but Mom, I can't afford it. So she was like, well, can you at least give me $1,000? And he was like, well, yeah, I can give you $1,000. And she said, Gregory, your father and I are going to pay for your wedding. And so he was like, in shock, and she was like, oh my God, we already burdens on you. We already living in your house. You give us money. And she said, but this is something I want to do. She said, you only get married one time, and I want Gregory to remember his wedding day. And Joan has been such a good person. She's been cleaning up, helping me around the house. And I want Joan to remember her wedding day. She said, son, I want to do this. And he was like, well, you guys see my mama really don't work a lot and she don't have a lot. And for her to want to do this for us is really a blessing. And so they were so happy. So the next day, they're cleaning up the dogs, washing the dogs, and they're talking. And the mother says, hey guys, Gregory, the phone's been ringing off the hook. Come in here and answer the phone. So he goes in, and then he comes out with a big smile, and he's looking at her, and he says, guess who I was on the phone with? And she was like, I don't know. And he says, I got the job. And she was like, oh my God, thank you. Thank God. I'm so glad you got the job. And he was like, God answered our prayers. Our worries are over with. And so she was feeling like maybe she was too hard on Gregory. But what I'm going to say is this. Gregory has been on Easy Street for many years. His mother had him on Easy Street. And he was the type of guy you have to push. Some men you have to push. You have to give him a push. And so he needed that push, or he would have never gotten a job. So she did the right thing by putting demands and consequences. If you don't do this, then this is going to happen. And sometimes that's the only way somebody's going to get up off their butt and do the right thing. So Gregory was so happy, and he was like, I know we need to save money to get a home and lots to do. But tonight, we're going to New York. New York City. We always talking about going to New York City before you got here, and we going. So, honey, they jumped in the car, and she had on this cute little outfit. And she really do have a nice shape on. He was looking at her and everything like this. And he said, we're going to taste that. We're going to taste the pizza and do what New York people do. I rented, he said, I got a beautiful room and a beautiful hotel, and I'm going to be lucky tonight. So that's what they did. They went and he showed her how to roll a little pizza up and eat it like somebody from New York. They walked around and she was like, oh my God, this is so much. This is beautiful. Oh, wow. You know, and they get to the hotel. He tell her to wait in the hallway. He set up and put candles and rose petals and champagne. And it was just beautiful. So I'm starting to like Greg. I think Greg is a nice guy. I think once she gave him that push, that's all he needed. He really loves her. And so she comes in and she's so impressed. And she was like, you did all of this? Oh my God, it's beautiful. And he told her, I'm so glad you don't have to go back home. I didn't want you to leave me. And I love you. And she was like, I love you, honey. And he kicked the cameraman out that room. And honey, they had a beautiful night. So I was so glad things ended up well for those two. Next, we're going to talk about real quick Aaliyah and Sean. So, okay, so Aaliyah is getting ready to talk to Sean. They're preparing for the wedding. The wedding is coming up. So she's trying to get the dogs' outfits together, and together they're making things for the wedding, I think, for the dog. And he asked her, do you think you're making the right decision on getting married to me? And she said, I don't think. She paused, and he said, it's a pause. And she said, I don't think I'm making the wrong decision. I just feel like perhaps, I don't know, I'm real confused about the changes that I want to make for my body. So I'm going to the doctor because I do want to have an operation. And so he was on the side saying, wow, I'm surprised she didn't tell me about this. So he said, well, do you want me to go with you? And she said, yeah. He said, I have questions too. So they go, and she really wants, and that's what she told the wedding coordinator the last time we talked, that she wanted a breast implant. And so they talked about that, and she has to decide what size cup she wants. She started talking about the sex assignment surgery, and he's looking like pretty tripped out when she's mentioned it. She said, I just want all the information so I'm fully informed and know what I want to do. I don't know what's right and what's wrong. The doctor was like, whatever decision you want to do is right. Have you guys talked about this? And he said, well, she did tell me about it, and I'm on board for what she wants to do. And so it was like, well, cool. So he's worried that she might want to get that sex change operation. He's very nervous about it. So then he wants to take her to meet his family, his children, his friends that's close to him. And she's nervous. And she's really working on her face with the makeup, with this, with that, her clothes. And he's like, can you hurry up? I mean, these people have been waiting on us for a long time. She said, I'm not hurrying up. This party is about me, and I'm going to make sure I'm perfect. So, meanwhile, everybody is out. I don't know. It looked like they're in the middle of nowhere. And he has this table and this wine and drinks and all that. And they're waiting, and they don't know what to expect. The mother knows. So they get there, and she looked beautiful. Aaliyah looked beautiful, and everybody was like, oh, wow. They couldn't really believe how young she was, but they could not say that she wasn't beautiful. So the mother greets them. One of the friends pulls him aside and says, wow, do you really think this is the right thing to do? Before that happened, he introduced Aaliyah, and let them know that they're engaged and they're about to get married. So it was like a lot to spring on people. They was like, well, wow, you know. So the friend pulled him aside and said, do you think that's fair to her because she's young? She hasn't had a chance to be who she is, and you've had a lifetime. And he said, I believe I'm making the right decision. If I was to keep questioning it because of the age, I'll get cold feet, but I'm going to go for my feelings, and this is what I want to do. So he kind of had an attitude with him, but he knew how people was going to react. And he was like, well, your son, they not really happy for you because they feel like you never did tell them about it. You just spring this on everybody. But the son comes over and he shakes the hands and asks her how does she want to be pronounced, what's her pronoun or whatever. And he did seem friendly. Everybody seemed friendly to Aaliyah. They sat down and they asked, somebody asked, well, why didn't you tell us anything about this beautiful creature? And so he said, well, he said something real stupid. I didn't do it. You guys wasn't around. I didn't do it. Plus, I already know everybody gonna have mixed feelings and this and that. And so they was feeling like he could have said something. They would have been happy for him. It's just a lot that they sprang on him at the last minute. And the friend asked, well, if she decided to continue to change her body, how you gonna feel about that? And you get married. And he said, well, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. Then why are you getting married? And he said, because we have a short amount of time. If I don't marry her, she's going to have to go back. But marriage is supposed to be forever. And so you're not even sure about how you feel. This is just really don't make no sense to me. And to be honest with you, he is correct. And so everybody, though, accepted her. And she kind of felt good that she was being accepted. And so that's how that ended. So, last couple we're going to talk about is Stevi and Mahdi. I'm going to make it really quick. So, the last time we talked, Stevi was still feeling like, well, Mahdi was still feeling like Stevi was bisexual. Okay? So, they end up talking about it, and she finally was like, listen, I am not bisexual. Okay? You're the one I want. I don't know why you're asking me this. I don't care how many times you asking me this. You still going to feel like what you feel like. And so, yes, no, I am not bisexual. So he said, well, are you saying that because you feel like I'm going to keep asking you? And she was like, no. And I'm getting really sick and tired of it. And so am I. The woman said no. Now, what I don't like about Stevi is if he asked you that and you guys are getting married, then you should have answered him instead of saying it don't matter. Because I believe it was the other way around and you thought he was bisexual and been with a man. You're going to want to know the details. You're going to want to know if he's bisexual or not. You're not going to say it doesn't matter. So she was wrong on that, and I understand he's from a different culture, and he's not used to women and nudity and walking around and painting people naked. I understand that. But at the end of the day, he should have asked her that before she got here. So they go to look at the place that they're going to get married at, and it was nice. Her friend met them there. And her friend was like, once you need to put your touch on it. And you can put, she was like, what do you mean? You can put some of your paintings. Maybe you can put my painting up. And she was like, well, that wouldn't be appropriate. And so he was like, why? And she was like, because she painted me in the nude. And once again, and Stevie knew he was about to act like she bisexual again. So when they left, he was like, why didn't you tell me that you painted her nude? And she was like, it didn't come up. Well, you usually tell me everything. And see, that just makes me feel like something is not up. Are you not bisexual or are you bisexual? And she said, listen, I'm tired of talking about this. I already told you. And guess what? It is what it is. Either you're going to marry me or you're not. Either you're going to believe me or you're not. But what you're not about to do is keep talking about this. And I'm with her on that. Now he done got on my nerves. So he has a friend from Iran that lives in the United States. And he invited him because they're about to go on. They're going to have their bachelor. I think they're having a bachelor party, a bachelorette party. And so he's supposed to come in and all of the things. And he comes to town, and immediately, when he sits down, after he picked him up, he's like, listen, I think she's bisexual. And he was like, what? Why would you make you say that? Well, she paints people's breasts, women's breasts, and she painted her best friend naked. He said, I know we come from a country that's not accepted, but That they are women, so I don't think it's anything wrong with that. It's not like she paying a man. I don't have no proof. This is my feelings. These are my feelings, my gut feelings. So he's saying, so you really don't trust her. I just feel like she gonna wait until we get married, and she do that, I'm gonna feel like I was trapped, and I don't want to marry a woman that's bisexual. And he said, well, bisexual in the United States is something that's common. And so I'm not surprised you're saying this, but you need to decide, do you really know this woman? Well, I love her. I really do love her. And so then he said, this is between me and you. Don't tell her what we talked about. So then she walks up, and it's kind of awkward because they've been talking about it. So she greets him and everything, the friend, and then she tells Mahdi to go get them some food. And so while they're sitting down waiting on Mahdi, he starts bringing it up. Well, I don't think that you guys known each other well enough, and he feels a certain way about this and that. So she said, obviously, I've been discussed, so she know what he's been talking about. So she's pissed, and she's trying to be cool with this guy that she don't know. So she said, listen, he a grown man. He can make his own decisions. And so it is what it is. So that's how that ends. I don't know what's going to happen with Mahdi. We already know he gonna marry her, because I don't believe he's here for her. I don't believe, I've been saying this, that he really loves her, okay? So he gonna marry this woman. So I don't know, I think this is another storyline, because Stevi's supposed to have children. Where's her kids at? Okay? So I don't know about this being a real situation, but we gotta act like it's real. So we just have to wait till next week to see what's going on. So I think I covered all the couples. That's all I have. That's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next.